Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Commissar here, and today I have a 1 vs 1 best of 3 series for you, which I'm pretty excited about because it features none other than Stephano from Team Evil Geniuses, and his opponent is none other than Liquid Taeja. Okay, so I haven't cast these two players, at least playing each other before, so obviously I haven't been casting a lot lately, so I've missed out on a lot of Taeja action as well overall as a general thing. So that's exciting for me. I noticed that this game, there are no VODs of any casts available, as such I thought I'd cast it. So of course today I'm going to introduce these two players despite their prestige, despite their fame, and you'll notice that in terms of his recent form, Liquid Taeja, as always, as to be expected, is looking pretty strong. You'll notice that recently he came 3rd to 4th in the GSL finals, in GSL Code S, where he lost 3-0 to life, taking home $4,300. Notice that in DreamHack Open Valencia 2012, before this event, DreamHack Winter, he came first, taking out $10,400, beating 4GG. That was only 2 months ago. And 1 month before that, he got 3rd to 4th at MLG, taking out $7,250. So he wins a ton of prize money. He is one of the highest earning players at the moment. And that makes him a pretty strong, I'd say even favorite perhaps over Stephano. Although Stephano, of course, is one of the players capable of taking out the best of the best in Korea, as a player outside of Korea. And his recent results do indeed reflect that quite a bit. You'll notice that in the WCS Europe Finals, he came first, winning $24,000 over Vortex, who he beat 2-0 in the finals. You'll notice that in NASL Season 3, he came first, taking home $30,000. And you'll notice that he also managed to achieve some other good results, like 3rd to 4th DreamHack Open Summer, 3rd MLG Spring Arena 2. He's basically been pretty phenomenal all year round. Okay, so the builds thus far, we do indeed see a 2-Rax out of Taeja, and this is going to make the start of the game quite interesting. Unless the defenses of Stephano are not up quite yet, a bunker may be able to go down. I believe drones will have to be pulled regardless of what happens in this scenario, as the first 2 Marines should be arriving before any sort, well, at least the first couple of Marines should be arriving before any sort of Lings do get out, at least in any sort of numbers. Okay, so a bunch of SCVs are being pulled as well by Taeja. Taeja coming in quite heavily here. The Overlord sees everything that's going on here. Taeja is pulling a ton of drones. He is pulling 14 of them, in fact. Building a Spine Crawler with 1. Gonna try and kill off this SCV. It will go down. The bunker shouldn't be able to finish here. The question is, though, will many drones be lost? And can the reinforcing SCVs complete the bunker regardless of Stephano's efforts to delay it? And this SCV does go down. The Marines are getting surrounded here. And if all the Marines go down, it doesn't matter if the bunker's up and the Marines are trapped here. A great defense by Stephano here, who was able to get away with minimal losses considering the potency of that timing. Workers killed now, 4-2. That's fairly good for Stephano. I mean, look at the amount of mining time lost. There are still 2 SCVs off the line for Taeja, and Taeja has been shut down completely. The good thing for Taeja is that it wasn't a proxy 2-Rax, the barracks were very close to his main, so he is not going to lose the game, he's not going to have a wide open main base, and he will be just fine in the long term. So economy, of course, shows that Stephano is probably going to have a pretty easy time pulling ahead in the drones the next couple of minutes, and he's probably going to have a pretty easy time taking a quick 3rd base as well if he so chooses. He's going to have a pretty good time in terms of connecting Creep, main to natural. Creep Tumor already on the field, injects spot on at 0 energy there, and of course only 1 Queen out on the field at the moment. We are seeing 1 Gas Geyser being mined out of Stephano, and he is indeed getting a Roach Warren. And the question is he going for a push, or is this going to be defensive? And based on the fact that he doesn't have a 3rd yet, and he probably could have gotten one about now, say if he doesn't get a 3rd in the next, say, minute or so, you'd have to say that he's going for some sort of big push. Not necessarily all in, but certainly a big commitment. And again, he is saving up for that 300, so it's possible that he's not going to go for the Roaches, but he's also saving up that gas count as well. So it will be a big swell of Roaches. They are going to make a big push at the front. And what does that mean for Taeja? Well, he has only Marines, and he has a very quick 3rd command center, rather. He also has, unfortunately, 4 guys in gas over here and 2 in the other one. A bit of a mistake there, but it's probably not going to be a big deal if he notices it very soon. But anyway, as I was saying, what Taeja needs right now is basically to get a couple of bunkers. If he sees what's on the way, if he sees that the 6 roaches are going to be coming to his base with some sort of map vision, which this marine will briefly give before being killed by these lings, which is going to mean that these roaches will not be seen by the marine. If Taeja sees what's coming, he'll be able to build bunkers, he'll be able to prepare, and really, seeing a lack of a third base at the 7.5 minute mark should be telling Taeja that something is possibly up. It does leave open the question. It does leave open the possibility that there's some sort of 2-base play, possibly some sort of tech-based like Mutalisk play, possibly aggression. As such, Taeja is responding with the bunker, and I believe that bunker should leave him in good stead in this game. And oh, the map presence of Taeja is actually going to be keeping Stephano with his very, very, very slow roaches back towards his base for the moment. Also, the Marines of Taeja being caught there, and you can see a couple going down very, very quickly. A decent trade here for Stephano, but of course, he does need to do some sort of damage with these roaches, as the investment was delaying the third base by quite a bit. The Marine count of Taeja is dwindling right now. You can see the Lings are doing a great deal of work, and every Marine has gone down. What does this leave at the base for Taeja? He does have that one bunker which will be repaired, but only 4 Marines are in it at the moment with none outside. 3 more should be out in time to help defend this attack, but will it be enough? With the repairs, I think it will be enough. The question is, what kind of SCV losses will Taeja take? He'll probably have to repair that bunker with a bunch of SCVs, which could potentially be sniped. Okay, so Stephano is going to push in just a second. Yes, he is going to try and focus on this bunker before any SCVs arrive to repair it. And Taeja not preemptively pulling, instead going to have to pull a bit late, really, for my liking. Does have a Hellion up. A Hellion's useless in this situation. You can see that roaches, though, are all going to go down at the cost of a few SCVs. I would like to note that Stephano's micro was excellent there in terms of his surrounding of the bunker with those roaches, as without SCVs there, he was trying to block them out, keep them out, and thus help the bunker to go down. It didn't work out though, because his unit count was just too low. The roaches were far too delayed as a result of those Marines being out, and as such, yeah, 6 roaches shouldn't really win you a game at the 9-minute 30-second mark. Okay, so Stephano does indeed have a third base finally going down behind the third base of Taeja. This is not good for Stephano at all. Unit loss tab does show him being ahead, but the economy shows him being even, and that is without taking mules into account. With mules, Terran is way ahead on minerals. The third base still not even mining for Stephano, still not even finished. Harvest is now even, so basically Stephano needs to try and go for the super late game, as in the mid game he will be significantly behind due to his just lack of resources. A couple of Hellions are coming in now, gonna meet some roaches straight away, but they still may be able to get a bunch of kills on the barbecue, and yes, they do indeed snipe a bunch of drones, but the micro of Stephano was very, very good indeed, minimizing those losses very effectively there. And you can see maximum 6 workers were killed there as 4 died in the very early game. And as such, that attack didn't really pay for itself, although it wasn't necessarily a bad trade for Taeja either, simply because, you know, you don't need to get the same number of mineral values in drones as you do with the Hellions, basically, as you do pay for that with the Hellions. Creep team was sniped there, a bit sloppy by Stephano not to cancel that, not a big deal. And we are going to see a couple of roaches try and harass these Hellions, but really, they can take the watchtower, yes, but they shouldn't be allowed to kill the Hellions. They do, however. That was a micro blunder by Taeja there. Not too often you get to say that. And meanwhile, he is going to move out towards the base of Taeja, but is unlikely to do any sort of real damage, as 8 roaches really seems a bit optimistic when there are marauders, there's a tank, and these roaches are slow, so they could easily just die here. So I really disagree with Stephano's decision to move out in this case. Okay, you can see the marauders, quite a nice little addition there by Taeja just to help against any sort of early roaches as they continue to come out. And meanwhile, we do indeed see that marauder production continuing 2 at a time, plus 2 Marines at a time. We are seeing those 2-2 upgrades coming out for Taeja, getting some quite nice upgrades. We did see, I believe a Hellion going into the back there. You can see no significant economic damage. It has been dealt, however, by Taeja towards Stephano. Okay, so meanwhile, on the Stephano side of things, he's making another big swell of roaches. The big question is it going to do anything? We have siege mode already completed. There are no upgrades yet. One is on the way for those tanks. But really, this ball of marauders, Marine Marauder, is probably enough on its own, especially with Stimpack with 1-1 versus Stephano's 1 armor and 0 attack. I don't see these Roaches causing any sort of threat to Taeja anytime soon. Stephano, you'll notice, is behind in supply. A very, very poor situation for Zug to be in. Behind by 10 harvesters as well in this game. Not so much because of the economic harassment, but more because Stephano just delayed his economy so much early on. He's still suffering from it. Taeja was able to macro up very, very quickly, unhindered, while Stephano hindered himself by trying to go for some sort of early pressure. So really this is the beauty of Taeja's build, I suppose, as we do indeed see another swell of Roaches futilely, I feel. I feel this can only be futile that much across the map. But as I was saying, it just shows the beauty of Taeja's opening, because normally when a player 2-axes and then loses a small group of Marines, the Zerg players used to being able to just kill them. That's what Stephano wanted to do. He thought he could just kill Taeja, but no, it wasn't a proxy. It wasn't anything like that, and as such, you know, the Marines are back at home, the bunker was up in time, and Taeja was just comfortably playing out, not even opening to his defense. But here's a big attack going on from Taeja. The Steam In is going to get this fourth for sure. No way can Stephano save that. There's a fungal going down with the first few infestors coming out, and the infestors do indeed pop just in time, although I do not think these tanks should be pushed into here by Stephano. Stephano losing an infestor straight away. His Roach count is not the highest in the world either, and he cannot engage these sieged up tanks. He can hardly engage this army at all. His hive now is completing though. 40 lings are about to pop. The Greater Spire is on the way. If Stephano can hold this attack off, if he can crush it, then he has a chance. Once he gets infested Broodlord, then he has a chance, as his army is so valuable, so strong, that he may be able to kill Taeja regardless of what happens in terms of the macro game, which is basically already lost for Stephano. I mean, we do have a 5th base on the way for Taeja, the 4th is landed. Taeja has map control, and the big question is, can Stephano hold on for a little bit longer? His Broodlords are about over a minute off, about 2 minutes off being completed. We do see the Roaches going down to a couple of tanks. These tanks are in a really strong position on this high ground. This tower cannot be taken by Stephano. Stephano cannot get high ground vision, but I believe it will not matter, because in a second, I think Taeja will indeed move out. Taeja is maxed out right now. He can re-macro up very quickly off of his 4 mining bases, off of his 5 total command centers. Taeja is now pushing forward, killing off those creep tubers very quickly indeed. We do see a bunch of Bailings morphing in, but they are slow Bailings. They are unlikely to ever connect with Marines if microed correctly, especially if not on creep, but Stimpack should be the difference anyway. I believe those invested Terrans by Stephano were just to give him a little bit of vision of the enemy army, and he does, I believe, see that back out as a result. I think he's aware of where the army of Taeja is rather. But the big question is, will this base get up right now? I don't know. The army is moving up towards the top side of the map, but it looks like Taeja is indeed going to send out 2 Marauders to that location. Very clever. But here we do see the tanks being engaged whilst unseed. Stephano's micro brilliant in terms of surrounding this army. Flanks on both sides. He is pushing in with everything that he has. But the question is his supply enough, or will Taeja be broken here? It looks like Taeja will be repelled for the time being. The question is in the reinforcements, and we do see 13 Marines at a time for Taeja. We do see no more mech units on the way for some reason. 3 3s on the way as well. 3 Vikings at a time to deal those Broodlords. So Taeja is trying to prepare for his anti-air. Meanwhile, Taeja, though, is dropping into the natural of Stephano. Gonna kill the Greater Spire, and oh my god, only 4 Broodlords have been morphed in, and it is going to be no more than 4. It is only going to be 4 Broodlords. They're not going to be any more likely to enter into this game if Taeja has his way. If Taeja keeps pushing right now, he could potentially win the game, as his production is better than the production of Stephano, and 4 Broodlords are so easily countered. As I say 4 Broodlords, it appears it will be a 5 actually, with a 5th being made a little bit earlier. Corrupt is out as well, but they cannot really do much other than counter Vikings, and the Viking count, however, is only at 3. Okay, so a couple more on the way as well. Taeja, meanwhile, moving up to the 4th yet again, denying that repeatedly. You can see the base up here was indeed denied by those 2 Marauders that we saw earlier. And now it's going to be 3-3 bio plus tanks versus a very weak Zug army, in that the infestor count is not there. Even if there were a couple more infestors, they'd need to wait quite a while to get their energy. 3 infestors on the field right now, 3 more on the way. And yes, tanks are dying here, which is good for Stephano. He needs every victory he can get. But I really do not see him breaking this planetary fortress anytime soon, especially when that Viking production is still going on. The big issue, of course, all game long has been the macro of Stephano, his economy. You will notice that his economy is very weak right now, and he's just going to have to go for it. He doesn't have that much money. He doesn't have that much production. He knows that he's just going to try and attack this planetary head on, but the Lings are just dying so quickly, and so they're going to have to try and bombard it with his Broodlords from afar. Trying to set up an anti-infested Terran defense with these, anti-Viking defense with these infested Terrans, but the Marauders actually moving forward to take them out. They are going to be picked off though, not a big deal for Taeja. Really, the Marauders are pretty useless for him right now, so he may as well get them killed off, as of course there are not that many Roaches, and not any sort of other thing, no Ultras on the way either. Okay, so here's the big surround on the Planetary Fortress. The Planetary is doing wonders for Taeja, and it's not even going to go down here. It looks like it's now finally going to be focused, but at the cost of almost every single Zergling. We see only Infestors and a few Broodlords are remaining on the field for Stephano. Down to 2 Broodlords. The Ling count is dropping rapidly. Only 6 Infestors. Only a couple of them have energy for Fungals at all. The last Broodlords are going to go down. Stephano cannot replace this army. His economy is too weak. 2 Ultras are on the way, yes, but only 2. He cannot afford to make Ultras on any sort of big scale. And Stephano is just being crushed in this game. Taeja moving up towards the natural with its reinforcing Marines. There are enough Marines to kill this group of Lings due to this. They're, 3 Marines plus Stim against just Lings. It looks like reinforcing Lings will do it, yes? But, you know, Taeja is just continuing to rally in here, and it's actually a threat because the army is moving into the 3rd base, and Stephano can't afford to lose anything at the moment, as he really needs to be expanding at the moment if he was to stay in this game. Of course he can't expand. There's no way he can expand, and he's going to try and go for another flank. Stephano has engaged well in this game. It's only been the economy that's been the biggest issue for him. Bailing's detonating on the tanks, not the best news for Stephano. The Vikings, though, are still controlling the skies. They're going to start killing Overlords in just a moment, no doubt. And meanwhile, of course, we do indeed see the big push out from Stephano. He's hoping that his few Ultras will be able to break down the front of Taeja, but Taeja already has Thors on the field, and upon seeing that there's going to be a well-played out of Stephano, who knows he just cannot contend with the superior economy of Liquid's Taeja. Okay, so Taeja doing a great job this game. Why? Because he just basically repeatedly shut down the economy of Stephano. He denied him, he contained him. Having got that early lead, he kept it really strongly. He just wouldn't give up on any inch of ground. Without a 4th base, what can a Zerg do? They can go for a 3-base timing, but with a delayed 3-base, a 3-base timing is meaningless. So basically, don't let Taeja get ahead, as he will stay ahead and crush you. Seems to be the moral of this game. Okay, so thank you for watching this game number 1. I'm about to cast game number 2 in this best of 3 series in just a moment, and I'll see you guys in a minute to watch that game.